Hi, what's up, Valerie?
Hey Prima, how you doing?
So,
Yeah,
Hello, good
good.
evening. How you doing?
I'm gonna be driving, so I won't be able to, talk as much, but I'll be listening.
okay, sounds good.
Oh,
Hello, hello. Is that
hi,
Khalid?
Primo. I hope we didn't disturb you from your nap.
Oh, I did nap and I did get up and I needed to get up, so
Okay, good.
I wouldn't consider it a disturbance at all. You know how, like you can take a nap and then like you sleep too long, it ruins your sleep for the night. So
Right.
I'm good. Um, why don't we like get started so we can be respectful of everybody's time. Khalid, is that you or is that Mia?
Hey, good evening, Primo. It's Khalid.
Hey, Khalid. Um, I essentially would love to use this time just to debrief everyone's experience on Saturday. Um, while it's still fresh in your minds, thank you for allowing for a reschedule. I had my organization's annual fundraiser last night. It's part of the reason I'm so tired, but also why I couldn't make it last night. And very sadly, I was in Philadelphia this weekend. So this is really just an opportunity for you all to share with me and with each other a little bit about how Saturday went, things that went really well, things that could be improved. So why don't we start off the conversation there? And Khalid, if you wouldn't mind taking some notes, that would be super helpful. And then if for me, it's helpful to have this information so that I can share it with the district manager and the leadership of the community board as we think about whether we're going to do this again in the future. And just general feedback from the event, I think is helpful for them to have. So it's helpful for us, it's helpful for the larger community board. And with that, I'd love to hear a little bit from each of you about how you feel like things went. Sol, I see you came off camera, so
Sure.
go for it.
Yeah. So I think that Saturday was a great event. I think that it was pretty. It looked and felt organized, and the tables were set up, chairs were set up, the vendors were there, everyone was happy. It was like very positive, and then the community just kept flowing through, and I think it was a good location because even if people wasn't as aware of it, the fact that they were walking past the park, it was kind of like, oh, what's that and what's going on? And so people just kept flowing through. So I thought that it was really good. I didn't personally see anything that felt off or negative or anything like that, but that's just me. So that's my little take on Saturday. And we got there early, and things went smooth.
Great. Glad to hear it, Sol. Thanks for sharing that. Valerie and the Felders would love to hear your thoughts as well.
Hi there. I thought that it was a good event. We had quite a bit of participation from the community as well as a lot of city agencies with a diverse amount of information that would reach all spectrums of the community, I believe. They had a lot of stuff there. So it was a good location, except for it was we had to play the sun chase game for a minute. When we first got our table, we didn't know where should we go, where should we go. So I know if we have it again, where I'm going to pick my table, because as the sun started to do its normal descent across the city, it was perfect where we were sitting, because at first the people grabbed all the shady spots and stuff, and we were like, oh man, we're going to be in the sun. But as time moved on, it was perfect. The only thing that there was slight confusion was like the bathroom. I'm not sure if they had the right information. I have to go back and look, that it was at well, I went at Claire Barton, and it was lucky that they had some kind of little fair or something over there at Claire Barton. So I was able to use the restroom. But otherwise it was great. I think it was cool that we should have it again, definitely.
Awesome. Thanks, Valerie.
And
Uh,
I actually, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. It's
Oh,
okay.
yeah. All right. Yeah, I do absolutely think that this is something we should do again, but I think it should be, so if one feedback is, Valerie was talking, it made me think of something like, I think the only thing we can do more is to have it earlier so that we can get information about youth employment next year and then target more youth, because I did stand outside of Clara Barton and Prospect Heights and handed out flyers so that the youth would be there or they would know about it, told them we have information. But I didn't see a lot of youth presence unless they were like with their parents and the parents had them come. So I think that if we do it, we should do it a little earlier in the year and maybe have like in time for them to get SYEP information and things like that incorporated into it.
Yep, makes sense. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say that this was the first event that I attended, a part of BK9. It was nice. It was well put together. I think that the tables were displayed nicely and there was enough space from each table. I do agree that site was awesome because of it being, like my sister said, well, she and I had a conversation. It was first Saturdays at the museum. Actually, Clara Barton did have a pop-up event and some other things taking place. June 4th was a very, very busy day, but just getting all the people trafficking in the area and then, allowing them to stop by. I love the fact that whoever was in charge at the front gate put the bags and balloons at the front gate. So it was like a welcoming scene. I liked it. It was nice.
Awesome. Super glad to hear that. I'm glad it was your first event and that it, brought you some joy. And I think it's good that it was a well-trafficked area. We got lucky on a few kind of synchronous events happening, bringing some more foot traffic. We did receive some feedback, as we always do, from contingents of the community saying that being on the western border of kind of the community, if you will, is not as helpful to people who live on the east side of the community or in the center, but you're never going to please everybody, but it's something to consider. So Alicia, go ahead.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what has been shared. I thought it was really beautiful. I think it was organized well. The layout worked, right? Because it's kind of like this circular motion where you get to touch base with everyone. I like the fact that there was music because that added another element to it. I also agree that I did not see much youth in terms of the age group that we are targeting. It was more like younger children and then adults. But I will say to that point, most of the information and most of the tables there were geared towards like younger kids and adults. So maybe like keeping in mind, because I would love to do this again. I think it's great for the community and like building and networking. So if we do this, I think we do need to spend more time on finding like things that will engage teens and get them to come, right? Like there has to be something, one thing that they'll say, oh, I want to show up for that. And then they'll be able to be exposed to everything else. So I would say like that was my one little piece of feedback.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And I'm glad, that it went well, but I think like obviously the place for us to improve is probably getting more job vendors in the future and doing it earlier and then getting more teens involved. Sounds like we were smaller part of what was a larger community board event, which I guess is right, but we also, as intended, but we also want to get more youth out. So a good place for us to focus more energy next time. Who all came out from the committee? Obviously, all of you, and then
Linda
I
was
saw-
there, right? Well, that's her name, right? Linda.
yeah, Linda, yeah.
I
What's
saw
his name?
Rashida, the
Yeah.
other Rashida.
Dominique, right? Dominique was there.
Who's Dominique?
Is her name Dominique?
Donnie.
Dominique.
Danique.
Yeah,
Danique.
they were there. They had their table. Yeah.
So I think that because of the time of year that this worked, I think that the draw would have to be if they keep it this year, this time of the year. I'm not sure if they would change it just for us, the time frame, but I think the draw was that it was a nice weather and it was a nice location. I regret that the people on the eastern part of the district kind of desired to have something on their side, but you know, it depends on what you want to do, if you're trying to support it or not. Maybe the community board would have to look at different areas in which they're going to have different programs and different things to give the people on that side an opportunity. You know, maybe they do it in a couple of different pockets of the community board 9. You know, maybe there's someplace else on the Wingate side, maybe, I don't know. But anyway, with regard to the young people, I think this was kind of like the end of the year, the school term, and different people were doing different things during this time of year. I did go to a couple of basketball events at the Armory, and it seemed like a draw for young people were like dancing. So if we have some kind of contest or something that would bring the crowd there or bring the young people, and then happenstance, we've got these resources available to them, then maybe, you know, unless we do something singularly. Because when we're talking about jobs and things like that, sometimes the opportunities come out early, like what, March? You know, and this particular event, it wasn't like we would like solely highlighted that, you know, even though this was youth services or this, that, and the other, you know, Soul had her table, I was with Owens. We weren't like grouped together to say that this section is youth services or this section is health, whatever. If we had 10 tables, let's say we had 10 vendors, it was first come, first serve with the tables. So whatever committee you may have been on, education or this, that, and other, safety, whatever, whenever your partners came, they just grabbed whatever table. So there wasn't like a section per se. But what was good is because it was circular, you got to walk around the whole thing and see all the different things. And then there were a couple of little arteries that shot up to the side where some people were sitting, like housing, and a couple of other folk that was leading to the entrance over there on Eastern Parkway. And what was that, Washington maybe? So it was kind of cool though, but we must do it again.
Cool.
So, I just want to touch base on something really quickly. So duh, I'm a part of the youth the youth board, but so I just went, like I said, the first time was this Saturday, and just somebody coming into the event, I actually thought that it was just an event for the community. I didn't know that it was just geared towards youth, which is a good thing. So that is probably what we need to focus more on the next time, is having more of a youth-centered event or focus. Gearing towards like the summer programs and SYEP, I think that should actually be done earlier, like Valerie said, maybe around February, like March, I would say March. The weather is obviously not that great, but we can have an indoor session where it's large enough where we can actually have like an indoor event, where an indoor blow up, you know, like the slides and stuff for the children. It could be a youth fair, just cater to the youth and draw them in with, I know it's probably gonna cost some money. I don't know what we can do in terms of fundraising, but that's also an idea where we can get like some cotton candy machines and, you know, just different things to gear towards the children, you know, to get them going and interested into what we're trying to provide for them. And then we can probably like have a follow-up like you just did in June, like the first weekend in June. I think that would be a good idea.
Yeah,
I
and
also
go ahead. Go ahead. whoever's-
Oh, okay. No, I was gonna say, I think something, and I know we've spoken about this in the past, but it kind of fell to the wayside, but the Instagram page that we created a few years ago, I think that that is really crucial, because algorithms are really important. And if we're only posting once a year when we have an event or twice a year, nobody's seeing it. We want to gain followers. So I don't know if this is something that the office can offer, but maybe finding an intern that can manage the social media page, you know, and get more followers that are youth, that will share, follow some influencers that are in the youth community. So then, you know, so they're reposting and they're following the page. I think, I know there was a woman who joined us a few times and spoke about connecting with someone from the community that was like a rapper or someone. So I think like trying to build that relationship with a few influencers, and sometimes they're willing to donate their time because that's just something that they need to add to their list of things. So we can kind of, you know, work around that a little.
Yeah. And I think one, yes, social media, we failed this year just because nobody really owned it. So I think, you know, moving forward, we should try to find somebody who is adept at social media and can own it.
So excuse me, I didn't want to cut you off, but the idea of getting an intern or something, maybe, you know, through CB9, youth opportunity to be a webmaster. They could put that on their resume that they did da 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 for Community Board 9. So maybe that could be one way that we can kind of get people in through their expertise, because, you know, I'm not no web person, and you know that. So so if we could get a webmaster that can identify with the influencers, and so that we can have something that's going on all the time, because, you know, we gotta take ownership of the integrity of our group as well. So I think a I just call it a webmaster. That might be an old timey terminology, but someone that knows it. And an intern, if they get like X amount of hours and they do development, maybe we could write a little something, blah, blah, blah. CB9 is looking for somebody to do X, Y, and Z, la, 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 la. At the end, you can get some credit. I don't know if there's some communication students out there that needs a little internship, total of 40 hours to develop. I don't know, but that would help us out. And we could get it on the right path and stuff, and they could teach us how to maintain it, or have them come back every now and then, or find the next intern that will go to the next school year. I'm just making this up as I go, but, you know, because I know I'm not doing it. But it's because I don't know how to do it. That's real, you know, that I don't know how to do it. And that, you know, I would appreciate an opportunity as a young person in school to get some kind of internship, even if I didn't get paid. You know, I don't know if there's a little stipend or something out there, because I don't know. Do they have interns for CB9?
Khalid, do y'all have interns? Do you have a budget for that or no? I doubt it.
Hi guys, we've been hosting interns for maybe about a year now. We have interns through SYEP, and we have interns that we just post out through colleges and graduate schools. So that's already an operation that's been ongoing in office for a good while now. Usually when we look for interns, we're looking for students in public administration, governance, policy studies, not necessarily on the information technology end, because our web services is strictly through Department of Information and Technology and Telecommunications. So if you're talking about creating a youth service, like Brooklyn Community Board 9 Youth Services website, that would be something completely, like a completely separate project that I guess if you bring it before the executive committee and, you know, the district manager, to determine any kind of feasibility, that's discussions that you could have, but I would just recommend that at this point in time that we already have a website that we've been working really hard to get launched, and we can expand on the committee pages. And so if at this point, I would just say, if you have recommendations for, anything that should be on a youth services website, of course, just forward it to the office. We'll talk to our liaisons at DOITT and helping us create an extra page and filling that up and monitoring it and maintaining it. And of course, like I said, we already have interns. We teach them what we can, and that can be just something we teach them as part of their, credit curriculum.
Khalid, we just want them to run our Instagram page.
Yeah, I
Okay,
think
so-
I think
okay, all
Talicia
right.
just wants.
Okay,
Talicia was saying that just needs to be like a person just to handle the social media. Like if there's a Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, just gearing towards the youth.
Understood.
Right, Tisha?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right, because I think the goal is to keep the algorithm up so that we're always in the feed. So like a post a day, right? And it might not always be an opportunity for youth, but a meme or something, but something that's going to engage them.
I see.
So it's
Okay, so we do have an intern, and of course we have access to the Instagram account. So if you come up with a schedule or series of like posts that you want sent out, and you just email that over to the office, we can have our intern work on that on a timely manner.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Sure, of course.
Linda's had her hand up for a while. Linda, go for it.
Yeah, well, I'm listening to everybody, and I personally feel that it's time that we listen to the young people and we don't begin to plan for things we don't know. I would rather, not rather like discount everybody else, allow it with every other thought that was shared. I would like if we could have like a real youth conference. We could ask organizations to send representatives and let the youth come and say to us, this is what interests us. This is what we would like to do. And then we have a round table or, and we choose things that they want to do. Yes, we might have a community fair, but the youth will just pass through. You only find like family members staying. Whereas if we organize something, youth-led, youth-run, we only be on the perimeters really to make sure that it's up and up, as you should also have some adults. But I would like to somewhere where we listen to the youth, because sometimes we are talking and we're just talking for somebody else's child and not our own. Rather, and then when we put together something, it doesn't really comes up to our plans, and then we have to start at the drawing board all over again. Next time, let's do this. This might attract them. I rather go for maybe we might be able to do it like at the end of summer, so that next year when we begin to plan a program, we're planning things that they want to come to, planning things that they want to do, planning things that they're interested in, and not what we think they should be doing. I think the day is gone for that. I live that each day with my Yawadut ministry all across this country, and it's the same old thing. We just get together and plan, and when they don't turn up. So I think we need to speak to them, listen to them.
I know, and we had that youth speak out, not this past December, but the year before. And there was some really good feedback from the youth. A lot of them wanted to learn about like entrepreneurship, investing in stocks, like understanding, just finances. So I think we should go back to that list.
Right, that's what made me think of that. Yes, because I remember when we did that, I didn't hear one kid say, I want a basketball court in my neighborhood.
Sounds good. I agree. We should continue to listen to kids. We had a bit of a blank year this year with all of the we're like, we're not going to do virtual events, and then we had the COVID rear its head again twice. But this event was a success, and I think we can go about it more thoughtfully next year with all of the feedback that you've given. Valerie, I see you have your hand up.
Oh, I should have put it down. I do concur that we should go back to that original
Go forward.
that forum that we had, so that we could pick up from there, so that we don't lose, although we did lose traction because it's been like 2 years almost now. But still those things are relevant, and the finances is definitely relevant, especially, now that it's a lot of Bitcoin stuff going on and some people are losing money, with that, with no way of getting, because I got the bank, they would guarantee up to $250,000 or something like that, so there are different things that have provided different financial outlook than it was prior to pandemic. So, this will be a good time to look at finances in a new way now. Everything is more expensive. How do you manage that? So I'll put my hand down now, but I think that going back to that forum that we had and tapping on that list, I think that would be a great start.
Right. And there's one thing I said, Valerie, you brought it to my mind. I was sitting next to the marijuana table. He was the first person that everything he brought was out. If we started at 11 o'clock, he could have left at 1. That's the place where everybody passed by, young, old, and had some conversation. So Valerie, right, yeah, Bitcoin is in. We could get somebody to come and, now speak here. When we did it last time, marijuana was not legalized. That's something we could look at. We need to look at things that young people are interested in. They don't mind investing and stuff like that, because everybody listening to him, well, how do you invest in it and where and stuff? They weren't talking about smoking or buying it. They were always talking about how to make money off of it now, instead of spending their money on it.
Right, because I'm even trying to look at some stock or different things now, because it's up and running. And the funny thing about it is, this guy that I dated years and years and years and years ago in college, God rest his soul, I'm sure he's turning over in his grave now, because he had a little plan on how to do this to make money years ago. And here it is, it's up and running, and people are making a lot of money, because like you said, it's not all about smoking anymore. It's about the oils and different things for different types of diseases, mental health issues, and all kinds of things.
Yeah, there were a lot of small business people that were there, that kids were interested. A lady was there selling clothes that she made, she crochet, stuff like that. You had young people. So I look and they see like the things that they're not really wanting to come play basketball. They want the kids want to make money.
Yeah.
I think that there's something to keep in mind, is that there's always going to be something for everyone. There's going to be that group that wants the sports. There's going to be that group that's like, I want to be exposed to something that I've never been exposed to before, like ballet. There's going to be some kids who's like, I want to join a step team. Right?
Exactly.
I think that what we can do is make sure that we are providing, and each year growing to provide for more of those groups. But I think that instead of us having like a fair for adults to come and vend and kids spend money, I think we need to look into, again, using social media, look into the youth that have started their own businesses, and then provide them an opportunity to have a pop-up where people can come and support them.
I agree. Primo,
That's a good idea. We're doing it.
do you guys only have a fair once a year, or like do you have multiple events throughout the year? How does it work?
We have as many events as we want to host.
Okay.
I think, in the year previous, we did 3. And that was like the Zoom year. It was a little bit easier to manage kind of 3 events in the digital space than it was to manage them in person. But the year before that, we did 2. We did a financial literacy event and something else, maybe the job fair. And so I think, we're reaching the end of our kind of term, if you will. The community board goes on a break essentially from the end of June to August, and then starts things up again in the fall. And so I think 3 events is an ambitious cycle, but a good one. And we just need to all be committed to actually doing it. This year we had planned to be more ambitious, but our plans got interrupted by COVID.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah, December through February kind of got taken off the table. Even March, frankly, got taken off the table with Omicron. And so we lost like half of our functional year this year. So yeah, Khalid, I see you have your hand raised.
Also, yeah, I just wanted to suggest that, aside from, of course, making events of your own, you can also, see what other organizations or schools are doing in a district and, ask what they're doing. How can you help? How can you sponsor and participate in such? So I just wanted to point that out that, as Primo said, making 3 events, 2 events is ambitious, especially with, the amount of volunteers that you might have on hand. It might also be easier to see what some of the public schools are doing in a district and, inquiring if they need any assistance, if they need any help. And, also to the same point that you were saying with the virtual events and the financial literacy, I think maybe it might be a little bit more, maybe it might be more feasible to have, smaller series events with maybe 1 or 2 public schools and say, hey, we'd like to host a financial literacy seminar, like a 45-minute seminar or such, with a couple of students and see, gauge their interests or what they're into, and I take that information from there. Following up from Mrs. Watson Lord's point about gathering what the students need and what they'd like to see. So those are some suggestions, definitely for the following year.
Yeah, those are helpful. I think that as we begin next year, or next cycle, whatever we want to call it, we should have a conversation, about kind of what we want to do. I think there's some places for us to improve on the social media front. Obviously, there's some places for us to improve on our own singular event or running multiple events. I think, we could be more connected to schools. We could be more connected to local organizations, and, change takes time, but we can start that change next year, and really kind of diversify what we're doing in some thoughtful ways. And I think, the other point to raise is kind of that, for me personally, I think, my time, I started a new job this year. My time has not been what it was in years previous. I think it probably makes sense for me to step aside, next year as the chair of this committee, and thinking about, leadership for next year needs to be a board member. But I think Sol could be a great replacement for myself. Linda, I don't know if you'd be interested in co-chairing. It's a conversation that we should have kind of as we head into next year. But I want to put that on your radar now, because I do think that we have some folks with some more time and energy and commitment available. I've tried my best over these last 2 years. I think we had a good year the first year, and this year obviously was a little less happening. But I want to put that on y'all's radar as we head into next year.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking, like one of the major things that I know that after this month things kind of died down, and then things are over, not much things are going on over the summer, but I guess I would like to kind of know, like, what is the process in terms of, who goes into leadership the next semester. And I mean, I would be interested in being of support next year, but I wouldn't want to take the whole summer off. I think it would be good for us to have planning sessions over the summer and like kind of put together a tentative calendar of like what it is that we want to do and accomplish for the year, and like kind of plan things out a little bit, so that then once the fall kicks in and start, we already know, okay, we're working to hit these targets. Let's plan backwards, and kind of then we can start it and then have the momentum going throughout the year. I think we'd lose a lot if we wait till the fall to start doing things.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree. Khalid, what's the process that I need to go through in order to get like approval to function, to operate the youth services committee over the summer?
I think that So basically what goes into recess is the general board meetings. So full votes as a general board, that doesn't happen during July and August. But that doesn't necessarily mean that committees can't meet. Committees are more than welcome to meet with one another and plan and discuss what you'd like to do for the forthcoming year. What I wouldn't suggest is coming up with voting items that the board needs to deliberate on, such as like anything in terms of spending money or a huge event that would require board sponsorship. I would recommend on holding off votes relating to that until September. But planning, scheduling, setting up structure, I think that's all fair game. I think, meeting with each other on a monthly or if a weekly basis, if you so desire, it's definitely entirely up to you guys, as long as it's a non-voting items that you're considering for the board. That's all. That would be my suggestion. And in terms of chairmanship, the board chair, Fred Baptiste, chooses the chairs per committee. So that's to answer Sol's question.
Sure. And Fred will choose with input. So,
right. Yes.
If we say these are the people, it'll happen. So I mean, I can say that with a high degree of certainty. Although it is ultimately his choice in the end. I think that Sol, with you being a new
but something.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry to cut you, Primo. I think one thing, and I did actually mention this to Fred. I really feel that it would make sense to put education and youth committee back together as one group rather than separating it into two. That was something, I did put out there, and, I don't know how you guys think or feel about that, but, that was just something I think instead of splitting it, because we're working with youth all the way through, it would just make sense to have one and then have bigger groups of people working together.
Yeah, it could be nice. I think part of the reason it broke was because the education committee was kind of like not functioning that highly until the last 2 years. But now that it's under leadership of you and what's her name, Melanie, it could be a time to consider it. So maybe that's something to discuss over the summer as well.
Primo,
yeah.
Sorry, I have to set record straight here. Sorry. Education and Library Committee split from the Youth Services Committee, in part also because Education and Library, well, at least Youth Services encompasses a specific age range demographic. I know you guys prefer to look at 16 to 24 around that age range, but Education and Library Committee, I remember that their concerns are that education spans beyond 16 to 24. There's adult education, continuing education, so forth like that. So I remember that a reasoning of why Education and Libraries split from the Youth Services Committee. But of course, that is always up for deliberation in the future. I just wanted to let you guys know on why there was a divergence. Also, Melanie Lewis has not been reappointed as a board member for the forthcoming term. So in a new Education and Library chair will have to be decided. So I wanted to also inform you of that, especially when board member orientation and follow-up comes up in the near future.
Good to know. Thank you, Khalid. I have been reappointed for the coming term, but don't intend to chair. So I'm happy to serve on whatever the committee looks like. I enjoy my time here. So
of course, please, I would just say, send a note to Fred informing him of your intended status moving forward, and we'll move forward from there. It's definitely reasonable.
Will do. So in terms of us meeting over the summer, do you think is this group happy to just keep this monthly cadence? I know things get a little bit busier over the summer, but if we meet in July and in August, I think we'll be in pretty good shape to kick off the year with some plans in hand. The first week in July is obviously a bad one because Tuesday is July 5th. Would you all prefer to move to July 12th?
But could I say something before you go there, Primo?
Go ahead.
I don't think it might necessarily mean that we keep on like a rotation, like a monthly meeting. I think that if we have one meeting, even if we could get together face to face, spend some time, like not just an hour, and we sit down and we brainstorm and we get together a good plan. As I agree with Khalib, that partnering or sponsoring stuff in the community would go a long, long way for us and make things much easier because we would have like outside people too who will be able to help us. So I think if we have one meeting where a date where everybody's available, I could get space, so don't worry about that part. Could be a Saturday morning, could be a Sunday evening. We can even go to Prospect Park and sit down and have a good meeting that we plan it. Then we would not necessarily have to be having like July and August. It could be one day in August when everybody come back from vacation or something like that. I know, when our teachers are out of school and relaxing, then that could work for us. And then by September, when we start up being appointed back to the board again, we could really, then we know and we could go. So by then, we'll find time to see who is in the community in that age limit. And I think, Khalib, you're right, because I joined it because I thought it was necessarily youth between 16 and 24, right? So maybe, we don't have to start with everybody. Look, if we start with like six youth organizations, I know Valerie over by her space, she's got the digital people, and I know sometimes they offer stuff for that age group too, because I got a close relationship with them from work. And so we could find about 6, 7, 10. We don't want everybody because then we don't want to become too overwhelmed and think that we could do everything. And do like 1 or 2 or 3 good events for the year. And that'd be good for us. Because remember, we might still have to be helping out at the whatever general events are happening elsewhere. So we won't want to it's not a competition, it's a
I agree
building of a
with you.
building.
Yeah, I agree with you, Linda. I think we should have like a real meeting, a real in-person meeting, sit down a couple hours. I personally don't think once a month is going to do much of anything. Like I do think maybe we should do like a bi-weekly thing, just at least until we kind of figure some stuff out and then maybe move into doing just a once a month thing. But if we maybe could commit to, July, we meet 2 times, but let's do a 2-hour in person. Let's really break this down. It's going to be way more effective and us like really planning stuff out, because once a month I think it's too far apart. Like we're going to forget things. Then who's responsible for this? How do we keep each other accountable for a whole month? That's just something that I think.
And so we have a
would make more
secretary
sense.
or someone that records
I don't
meetings?
think we even have.
But we will get one. We have to get one next time we organize.
Right.
So I have a suggestion. I think, yes, having that initial like in-person planning meeting where we kind of square away a calendar for next year and identify what it is that we want to do. I think that would be helpful. I will say that schools, nobody's really checking their emails over the summer. So if we are looking to partner with schools, we need to get in there before June 27th. So I would actually propose that we meet again this month, get in person, come up with a calendar, decide what the program is that we are trying to implement in a school, and send out the email blast to principals within the area just so that it's on their radar. I know that my principal has already started planning for next year, what that calendar looks like for the students. It's going to be too late in the summer. So I think that if we are looking to partner with schools, then that is something that needs to happen within the next couple of weeks. And that would then, one, free us up because I'm being completely honest. This year has been taxing. I don't plan on really using my brain this summer, unless it's to use it to get to a bar and then back home. So
I hear that.
so I will say that at least if I know, like, going into my summer, here's the thing that I am charged with, like sending out the emails, reaching out to the youth in the community that have businesses, then that's something I can work on. And when we come back in September, it's like, here's this list. All of these people are good to go, right? So like we can just move. So I think this summer, like, we can all use to work on the thing that we are delegated. But I do think we need to have that meeting sooner rather than later.
Great. Well, just tell me when you're ready and we could go. I think it was your sister who just asked if he had the secretary.
Yes,
Yeah.
I did.
Maybe I don't want to delegate a job to you, but maybe we could get together and we could put together a list of all the church youth groups, not the church, just the youth group, right? Who's responsible, and all those organizations. I know there's a lot of organizations, especially headed by a lot of Guyanese who does stuff for young ladies between that age, and see, what we can do. Just we could introduce ourselves and say, look for us to come if you want to share your agenda with us. We would love that. Then we would know what they're doing. So when we meet, we got at least a basic idea. We wouldn't know everything up front, but when we meet, we got a basic idea what the schools are doing. We might know teachers and see where we could help, but because it would have to be like the high schools, not the small schools under 16 years old. So we could start somewhere. You're right. We could start have a meeting in the summer, and then as we know what is there and what we can do. But remember, we're the ones who come in to help. We're not really running their programs, and so we want to uplift them and enhance them as a community board in the community. So yes, I agree that maybe before June. Me personally, I would not be available in person from July 3rd to the 12th. I'll be out. I have a big conference in Baltimore, so I'll be out for those 2 weeks at my conference. But apart from that, I'm good. I'm good to go. I think that's my last thing for the summer. So after that, I am good to go anytime. But I could get you at my church, St. Gabriel's Central, and be off.
I think I don't know who it was who gave the suggestions. I was listening, but the one, if you're saying that we need to kind of connect with schools before June 20th, June 27th, then I know for myself, if maybe we can if we can do this next week, it would work for me, because the week after that, I'm going to be away. So, and then the 27th would work for me. But if you're saying we need to meet before the 27th, can we tentatively come up with a day of a commitment that maybe we can do next week while we have our momentum and want to, do some strategy and start seeing what we want to reach out and do what we have to do? Would next week be something that people would be available for? And then Linda, if you could get us a space.
Yeah. Once I
we
know
could
the
start
date you want it and the time, that's no problem.
All right.
Yeah, it depends on the day next week. But right now, the 15th works for me.
That's a day of the week.
Wednesday.
That's a Wednesday.
It had to be. So you want it to be an evening after work meeting then?
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Is this a virtual meeting or an in-person meeting?
In person.
We was thinking in person, so we could say, no, I was thinking a weekend day, Saturday morning early, but.
Okay, just wanted to be clear about that. That's all. Okay, continue.
Most weekends I'm unavailable, so I won't be able to meet on the weekends. So you'll do your thing. I won't be able to meet on the weekend. So.
Oh, you can meet in the week, Valerie?
During the week is fine. Virtual is fine, because we spent a lot of time here talking tonight, and we really didn't come up with any type of solutions. I feel that this is just me personally, since I've been kind of doing it for like the last 5-6 years. Our year is kind of short. Even if we do start having meetings now, we only have so much time to do so many events based on different holidays, different closures of the schools, different things that are happening. It was indicated that if we wanted to get on the calendar for the school, that we need to do it before a certain date, but we kind of need to know what is it that we're really trying to do.
Exactly.
Come up with a calendar to tell them to be on, So
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Valerie. It feels a little rushed to try to, we don't even have the DOE calendar for next year yet.
Yes.
So like, like, what's the value in trying to push something out in late June to schools when we don't even know the schedule for schools next
Well,
year?
Yeah, but
Well, no,
don't
the
they
calendar-
post
the
that on the
calendar went out
calendars are
last
posted
week.
online?
Oh,
Yeah,
when last
they're
week?
online.
Oh.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's posted.
So what about our calendar, CB Community Board 9? Do we have all,
No, I mean, there's
they're open and closed, which week is a holiday, which week is not a holiday, when we're not doing this, when we're not doing that. So, but I do think that we do need to meet to come up with a real strategic plan of what we're gonna do. For me, I'm telling you now, I'm not gonna be doing nothing every other weekend during the summer because I'm
Okay.
doing different things, so I don't want to commit to that. But I will do help any way I can. And I think that us getting together and kind of hammering out 2 to 3 things that we reasonably think that we're gonna do is a good idea.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Valerie. That was my original thinking of getting together so we know where we're going. Not, you're right. Every week, I can't promise you that. I've got a lot of other things to do that I must do. But I've got time for you once we got it get together.
Yeah, same here.
I guess
also-
my
Next
question is,
Wednesday or next Saturday.
yeah, so I guess my question is, are we gonna try to meet within I mean, I think that we should probably, unless we're just gonna do a one-off special thing on a Saturday or Sunday, but like if we can kind of let people have their weekends, I think that's important. So I think we should do something, just pick a day in the week. I don't know how you guys feel about next week, because if we come up with something that maybe we do want to reach out to schools for, if we wait too long, then we won't even be able to implement anything or send the
But my question
information out.
becomes, if we come up with something for the schools, what are we telling the schools? We're telling them that on I'm just making this up, on September 15th, we're having financially lit event at First Baptist Church. So this is what we're telling the school, because I'm not sure what we're trying to.
No, we need to. Like, yeah.
So,
I mean, I think it is pretty short of a. Go ahead, whoever was talking. Go ahead.
Oh, so no, I was just gonna say most of the emails that we'll receive in schools would be from an organization saying, here are the things that we offer or that we're willing to offer. Would you like to partner with us? So I think like the initial email that goes out is like, we are, we have a financial literacy workshop. And so what we would be discussing next week is what we would want to do with the schools and come up with a list of things. And then we can send out an email to gain interest to see who is even interested in it before we go on, with a full plan and then no one reaches out and says that they want us to come and do it. I think that we need to gather interest first.
Yeah, but are we only going to do things with the school? What about the other organizations? Why not work?
No, I think we should definitely do other things. I think that the time sensitive thing is this, like reaching out to the schools. I think that other thing, like we've been able to pull off some other things, with like short notice, but I think something like this, where we are banking on whether or not a school wants to partner with us, I think we need to reach out. Like that needs to be the priority.
We don't even know what we're trying to do for them to partner us with. So, because I'm just, my mind is going crazy over that idea about having the fair with the kids and having them do their stuff. I could just see that as our event. When we had, I just could see that as our event, because maybe this year we might be able to go back to the Neek school. Remember, you were here during that time where we had like over 600 participants. We had 40 vendors. that came out that day? And what if we can get the young kids to come up? But will they let them sell stuff in school? I don't know.
I think that's part of what Talicia is saying is like, if we say to schools, we'd like to do an event that's focused on, youth
Entrepreneurship.
or whatever, then they'd say,
Right.
like, yeah, sure, like, let's do something together.
Okay.
And so I think it's really just, like she said, coming up with some offerings. We don't have to give dates. We don't have blah, blah, blah. We just want to, get a sense of which partners would be interested in joining us to do what we're offering. So we
Okay.
really have to come up with our offerings. So why don't we find a date that works for folks?
But hold on, but then if we just want to say that, we could just draft a letter and send them, then we would, I don't think.
Well, we just have to decide what we want to offer next year,
Okay.
right? I think that's the purpose of the planning time. Does that make sense?
So with this being the 11th hour, will there be somebody reasonably at the school that will be able to respond to us with this request?
It makes sense to me, Primo. I understand what you're saying. I think that what you guys are trying to do, it all sounds good and amazing. It is a short amount of time to have another meeting and stuff before the school year ends. We should just go ahead and do what you and Primo and Talicia was saying. I think that's a good idea.
Okay, so is there a time next week in the evenings, a day that works for folks? And we could potentially do it in person.
Checking the calendar now. Hold on one second.
I could do Thursday after 6:30. Thursday's not the worst. That's the only day that I have next week.
The 16th?
Yeah.
I can do the 16th.
Anybody
The
else?
14th, 16th, and 17th, I have senior events in the evening, so I won't be able to make that. The 15th works the best, but I could also make the 13th work.
If y'all feel like you should do the 15th, you should do the 15th. I'm not free on the 15th, but I don't need to be there.
Well, we want you there, Primo.
Does the 15th work for anyone? Or if the 15th doesn't work, what date works for everyone?
I could do the 15th.
Sounds like we have 3 for the 15th. Linda, Sol, does the 15th work for you?
I am looking at my calendar.
Hi guys, sorry about that. The 15th, Wednesday, that Wednesday isn't good for me. Like other Wednesdays, it would have been okay, but this particular Wednesday, I have another event. Is it possible, like anything after I can do
The following week.
the following week? I won't be here at all. Remember, I was going out of town.
Oh, that's right, that's right.
Right. So the Tuesday, anything after 6 for me. Thursday, anything after like 4:30 for me works. Anything on
Thursday the
Tuesday and Thursday
16th?
that works for people. Yeah, the either the 14th or the 16th. Those 2 days I can do stuff later in the evening.
Yeah, it's a tough one. We're just not going to find a day that works for everybody. So I think, it's obviously it's at this point between the 14th, 15th, and 16th. The 14th, 14th and 16th working for Sol, but not for Talicia.
I'm also okay with, I mean, it might be a little weird, but I'm okay with joining a Zoom in the room to be there for the conversation, so I can kind of like step out while they're setting up for the event, and then I can join in that
And
way,
we
if that works for everyone.
Well, it seems that you might have to move it back to Zoom because in person in the week.
It's gonna be hard. It is unfortunately gonna be hard. Do we, okay, so Talicia,
Okay, it says 20 minutes, 23 minutes.
between the
Yeah.
two dates, which one is best for you, the 14th or the 16th?
The 16th would be the better one.
It's better for me as well. I could make the 16th happen. Soul, 16th?
16th is the best one. Yeah, the 16th is the better for me too.
So let's do the 16th. I think we should probably keep it on Zoom because, yeah.
So we don't think, okay, that's fine. If we have to do that, that's fine.
Yeah, it'll make it more accessible, I think, for folks.
Okay.
Let's 7 o'clock. Is that the right time? Or earlier?
7 is fine for me.
I could do 6:30.
No. I mean, could we do a
I
hybrid?
could also do it
Can we-
6:30.
Yeah,
6:30
fine for me.
6:30 would
Yeah,
be
if you're gonna
better.
do 6:30
Six-
fine for me. So can I ask a question? Could we possibly do like a hybrid thing? Like if there's some people that can meet in person and then some people that can meet on Zoom, can we do that? I just find like Zoom is okay, but like to really be productive and put things together, like for me, like being around people, just I don't know. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
I
just me.
understand
Like
what
if
you're
we
saying,
can
but
make
I
it
think that
hybrid.
I think
Huh?
it would probably be better if everyone could meet in person if we're gonna have an in-person
Right.
meeting versus some
Right.
people doing it. It's not gonna be as effective as it should be.
Again, just
Well,
like
I
with-
mean, I think the
It
difficulty
seems-
is that trying to get an everybody day right now is a little tricky.
yeah.
Yeah, because
It
it's
seems,
last
but
minute.
honestly, it seems like the 16th is just problematic for me to be in person. So I'm okay with if you guys want to just pull up a Zoom call and then I'll join it so I can
Right.
be a part of the conversation. I'm okay with that if everyone else wants to meet in person.
Right. So I mean, if it's just like that, then why not let's just do it in person and then just have her, then have her, and if it's another person join in, then that should work.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Okay.
Somebody will need to own finding a space.
Lee, can we meet
Yeah.
at the community board office?
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
Lee?
Khalid, can we meet at the community board office next Thursday at 6:30?
Next Thursday at 6:30. I cannot say that you can't. I would say that make that inquiry to the office
Okay.
formally because we're still under what do you call it? The same restrictions in terms of the amount of people that are allowed in certain spaces, especially here as a city agency, and we're not going to go against those rules and fall out of compliance. So I would suggest making a formal inquiry to the office email so that the district manager and Fred and us can take a look at the proper conduct in terms of in-person meetings, and then let you know if it's
That sounds-
feasible.
that
And then
sounds- We can do that.
it's just I can't say yes or no. I can't
That's
tell you
fine.
that.
That's fine, Khalid.
Right. I would say you have to make a formal inquiry to the office.
We will. Sol, would you mind sending that email to the office? And then for now, Khalid, could you just send us a calendar appointment for the 16th at 6:30?
You got
Okay,
it.
so you want me to send a formal request for us to meet 6:30 to what, 8 or 8:30 next Thursday?
6:30 to 8 sounds good to me.
All right, no problem.
Okay, great.
And if they say no, then Primo, then you might be able to get something at the Major Owens.
Okay, all right.
Oh, Major Owens is even better for me because I'm down the block from my house.
That's
But
true.
yeah, okay, no problem. I'll send it in and then I guess we'll have, who is the backup for that? I don't know who is just talking.
Valerie.
Oh,
Okay, Valerie. So if
Oh.
we have any issues, then I'll contact you and say, hey, can we look into a space at Major Owens?
yeah.
Better
But is
start
there
with
less?
What do we,
Vote
should
for
we
the
just, should we just try for Major Owens first?
was
Yeah, I
just
mean, I
giving you
think
a
that might
backup.
make sense because if you have, if there's restrictions gonna be at if there's gonna be restrictions at the CB9 office, would it just make sense to just see Valerie to see if we could just get a space in Major Owens?
I could ask them if they have it available in the cafe.
Okay,
I'll find out if they have it available, first of all. You have to, I gotta check.
all right. All right,
right,
so
so-
if, then once you find out, can you just put an email out to us and then we know where to go from there?
Sure.
All right, that
great.
sounds good.
Let's do both simultaneously then.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Okay, all right,
Okay,
okay,
so
all
see
right.
y'all next Thursday somewhere.
all right. Bye, everybody.
Okay, take
Bye,
care.
All right.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, Khalid.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.